In this video, I'm going to show you whether you should use an internship in Congress, Washington, D.C. specifically, as academic credit for your institution. The reason I'm making this video is because 4 years ago, I myself landed a congressional internship, and something that's commonly spoken about in universities, depending on their policy, is whether or not you should utilize an internship towards academic credit. And what I commonly see is professors, advisors, supervisors, a lot of people around you will push you to use internships as academic credit. However, with the different factors that we'll be discussing below, it's not as clear-cut as you would think. And it could definitely benefit you or maybe even earn you more money if you aren't utilizing it for academic credit. I personally, myself, did not use it for academic credit. I benefited from not using it. And so this is a detailed explanation on the cases where you should or you shouldn't utilize an internship in Congress towards academic credit. Now, before I get into it, I do want to share that there are going to be financial conversations had in this video regarding tuition, regarding aid, regarding scholarship. But at the end of the day, none of this is meant to be financial advice directly to you. This is purely meant to be educational. I'm also going to be speaking about my experiences. And if you want any specific details on how you should navigate this decision, talk to a financial advisor, speak to somebody that's in the professional space to give you that advice. This is purely educational, and I just hope it gets you one step closer to making that decision for yourself. First things first, in order to understand this board, I want you to take time to understand the factors that we will be utilizing in order for you to better understand whether you should utilize academic credit or you should waive academic credit for your internship. So let me explain to you the factors, and if you would like to take down a piece of paper or just take a mental note as to what each one entails for you, it's going to make it significantly easier for the rest of the video for you to specify which specific category you fall under, and it's going to get you one step closer to making that decision for yourself. So first things first, I'll be discussing intern policy. When it comes to intern policy, it's pretty much your university policy when it comes to internships. So does your university give you credit? Does it even give you credit for internships? That's the very first question you want to ask. And if it does, is it a requirement for university? Does your university expect you to get an internship before you graduate? And does it require you to utilize it for credit? Right? There are many different factors that you can utilize in order to understand better whether your university even needs you to do an internship before you graduate. It's always recommended to do it. It's better for your resume. There's a lot more to be said about getting an internship before you graduate. Nonetheless, that is the very first thing that we're going to be talking about. There are also university policies where you can do a 0 credit internship. It is required, but you could do a 0 credit option for your internship, and it won't require you to take academic credit, but you can still fulfill that option. That's the number one thing that we'll be focusing on today. Before I get to the rest of this, if you're a student looking to land government internships, specifically in Congress, Washington, D.C., I myself am building the biggest online course towards students to land those internships. This is just a fraction of what I'm offering in the online community that I am building and the one-on-one coaching that I'm providing for my students. So if this is in any way something that you're providing value towards you, something that you feel like is giving you more insight as to how you can land these internships, this is just one piece of the puzzle towards the massive pie of actually going through the application process, funding your internship, and making sure you can get to DC without issues, especially as a minority student, commuting to and from school, from a university that doesn't have a lot of DC connections, and you want to be the first in your family to enter government. So if that's something that resonates with you, click the first link in the description. Otherwise, find value in the rest of this video. So the second thing that we will be talking about is tuition. What specifically with tuition? I want you to start thinking about this specifically. Does your tuition charge a flat rate or does it charge per credit? Now, this is most commonly done per credit. Most schools will charge tuition per credit. Now, usually classes are 3 credits. And so there's usually a rate per credit, and you want to multiply that by how many credits you're taking. If you are a full-time student, you're usually taking 12 credits or more. If it is a flat rate, you're still maybe be taking 12 credits or more, but perhaps it's a little bit more flexible. You're going to be paying the same for 12 credits as you will be paying for 18 credits. But that depends on your school. Is your school a flat rate? Does it offer tuition as a flat rate, or does it offer tuition as a per credit rate? Most schools will offer a per credit rate. If that's something that you don't know right off the bat, it's something you can research in your university and find out very quickly on Google. But I do want you to determine whether they offer a per credit or whether they offer a flat rate once you are a full-time student. The next thing I want you to consider is aid. Now that is more specific to you. Do you have grants from the government? Do you have loans from the government? What do you have offered from the government? Most of the time, if you are a full-time student or whether you're a part-time student or the amount of credits you're taking, the government will give you a certain percentage of their grant that they're offering you, depending how many credits you're taking. That usually maxes out once you are a full-time student. So you could have 12 plus credits and then the aid is maxed out. You could be taking 15 credits, you could be taking 18 credits, but once you're at 12 credits, you're usually at a full-time student, and then that's where they'll cap out the amount of grant that they're giving you and offer it as a flat rate beyond the 12 credit mark. But if you're below that, they might be offering you 75%, they may even be offering you 50% as a part-time student, which gets segueing into the fourth one, the fourth factor to consider, and it's your enrollment status. Whether you are a full-time student or whether you are a part-time student at the time of entering in Congress. Those are going to be factors that will apply as to whether you should utilize it for academic credit or not. And the very last thing is scholarships. Scholarships is very important because similar to grants, they may be contingent as to how many credits you're taking. There are some scholarships that don't apply until you are a full-time student. When I was a student at FIU, Florida International University, I had scholarship Bright Futures. And Bright Futures did not apply unless you were a full-time student. And after you were a full-time student, they would pay for all your tuition, right? So you can have a scholarship that is per semester, $1,000, a flat rate to $1,000, $2,000. Or you could have a scholarship that is a full ride that pretty much pays for everything. Or you have a scholarship that it is a full ride, but it only applies once you are a full-time student, meaning you are taking 12 credits or more. And that's where it starts to cover everything in your tuition. Those are going to be factors that are indicated in these points as to whether you should utilize your internship as academic credit. To remind you, I did not utilize my internship as academic credit. So if people are forcing you, if people are telling you this is the right thing to do, these are the reasons that should be the primary discussion points, conversation starters with those people that you make your financial decisions with, as I share with you today. So first, we're going to start off as to when you should, or when at least it makes more sense to do an internship and put it as academic credit for you. First of all of this is consideration that your university does take internships as academic credit. Most universities do, and most congressional offices understand that you are a student while you're doing the internship and that it can be offered as academic credit. A lot of the intern coordinators can work with you as to whether you should do it for academic credit. They'll probably encourage you to do it because that's the thing that they see most often. Nonetheless, this is definitely contingent on your university policy. The vast majority do. Shouldn't be an issue for you, but you may be the exception. There's a lot of universities. I just want to put that on the record. So the very first opportunity where academic credit becomes the opportunity to utilize this internship as academic credit is if that semester you are taking 9 credits and it is best for you to be a full-time student. So let's say you're in a 9 credit mark, you're in an 8 credit mark, and that internship is going to give you 3 more credits. That internship is going to give you 6 more credits. Then that is when it would be making more sense to do it as academic credit. Why would you need to be full-time? Like I said before, some grants don't apply until you are a full-time student taking 12 plus credits. And also some scholarships don't apply until you are a student taking 12 plus credits. So if you are taking and you are planning to go to DC to take 3 courses, mind you, some internships can be very demanding. Some internships can require a lot of your time. And so it might be the first time that you are taking time outside of your course schedule to do the internship. So if you and your university give you the ability to take academic credit, whether it's 3 credits, whether it's 6 credits, you discuss that with your university, it will make sense that if you're planning on taking only 3 classes while you're in DC, most likely remote classes, online classes, the ones that are allowed at your university, then perhaps adding the extra 3 credits so that if you have financial aid that needs to apply, if you have scholarships that need to apply, that is when you would utilize it. That is probably the top reason why it would make sense for you to take the academic credit. The second reason, which is a little bit more rare, I won't lie, is if your scholarship or your grants or anything particular in your university requires you to have a 4-credit internship. The reason why this is rare, but I still wanted to mention it, is because there's a distinction here. Your university may require you to do an internship, your scholarship may require you to do an internship, right? But it may not necessarily make you do it for credit. It may not necessarily require you to take credit, academic credit, for the internship. It's not absolutely necessary all the time. This is a very rare case, but in case that it is required, you do want to understand what your university policy is, what your scholarship policy is, and whether the internship that you are doing, in order for it to apply towards the requirements, that it has to be a 4-credit internship, that it has to apply to academic credit. Otherwise, most of the time, if it is a requirement, you can fulfill it without it needing to be academic credit. And then then you'll just utilize the rest of the reasons as to whether you should put this as academic credit. Now, the third reason is whether you are a part-time student at the time that you're doing the internship, or whether you're a full-time student already. You're planning on taking 4 classes, you're 12 plus credits in, and your grants apply, and your scholarships apply, and honestly, maybe at that point, you don't really have a hindrance. You take more credits, and at the end of the day, your scholarship is going to pay for it, your scholarship is going to cover it, and you'll be fine. This in particular is if you need your credits to graduate. Some people are looking to get the requirements met for the university, for their coursework, and to advance the credit options in order to land the amount of credits you need to graduate. So if you're someone on track to graduate early, perhaps you're in your last year, you want to take more classes, you want to take on more material, or perhaps you just want to take this opportunity to take credits for something that will apply for something in your course curriculum without needing to take an extra class, without needing to go out of your way and do something different, then perhaps this might be a reason why you should take it for academic credit. I'm not sure what university policy applies for yours. Perhaps they may make you write an essay at the end of your internship experience so that it can fully apply for credit. Nonetheless, this is going to be an opportunity for you. If you're looking to graduate early, you're looking to get more credits into your system, it could be a combination of different reasons as to why you should take it for academic credit. Now, the fourth reason, which is not as common, but it happens, why perhaps it would make sense for you to take academic credit is if you go to a flat rate university. Here's the reason why. All these things, some of these are interchangeable. Let me explain to you what this means. If like I was explaining before, if your tuition, you had to determine whether it's credit rate or whether it is priced at a flat rate. Because once you get to 12 credits, if you have a credit rate tuition, the moment you get 13 credits, the moment you get 14 credits, the moment you get 16, 15, whatever, then more tuition will apply to you. You will be charged more for the internship, for your coursework is what I mean. But if you go to a school with a flat rate internship where they won't pay you more for 12 credits versus 17 credits versus 18 credits, depending on your university policy, then if you want the credits to graduate, if you want to utilize it for different reasons, if you want to get the academic credit, then it makes sense that if you're already at the 12 credit mark, then perhaps it won't make a difference, right? If you're already at the 12 credit mark, you're taking 4 classes while you're in DC. If you want to put this as an extra 3 credits to get towards your graduation quicker and make sure that you're getting your scholarship money and everything, in a flat rate tuition university, it won't apply extra. This is especially useful for people that maybe are paying out of pocket or perhaps are relying on loans. That if you're in a flat rate university and you want the credits to graduate, let's say you don't have a scholarship that's going to charge you more, it's going to give you more money for for your per credit courses, then when a flat rate applies to your university tuition, the moment you take 15 credits, it's going to charge you the same as if you were taking 12 credits. So at that point, if you are looking to graduate early, if you're looking to advance on your credits, then it would make sense in this opportunity that if you're going to go to from 12 credits to 15 credits, from 15 credits to 18 credits, and you can sustain the workload without hindering other reasons on this board, and it gets you closer to graduation date, makes you fulfill all the requirements, then that might be a reason or an added reason why academic credit makes sense for you. Now, the final reason that why you should or maybe have the opportunity to do academic credit for your internship is if you have a full ride scholarship. I had a full ride scholarship, but for some reasons here, I'll tell you that the reasons why this is not a clear-cut example as to why you should or shouldn't. But if you do have a full ride scholarship, the reason why it would make more sense. Similar to the flat rate in university tuition policy, if you have a full ride scholarship, usually all the credits are going to be covered. So your university may charge you more for having 3 extra credits, 6 extra credits for that internship experience. But at the end of the day, if you have a full ride scholarship, it's most likely going to cover everything. So you want to check in with your scholarship. You're at the 12 credit mark, you're at the 9 credit mark. You're getting into the full-time workload of a student, or you're already at the 12 credit mark, then adding it to 15 credits, adding it to 18 credits, I mean, you're going to be doing this internship regardless. All this is consideration that you are going to be doing this internship regardless. So if you want to get those credits and you have a full ride scholarship, it's most likely doesn't matter whether your university is credit rate or flat rate, you'll be fine because you're going to be paying for those extra credits of your university. And you won't have to worry about tuition, and you'll be able to advance your career with credits. Now, that is how the reasons that you should take academic credit, or perhaps the reasons that maybe will pull you towards leaning and taking that internship for academic credit. But there's a caveat. Not everyone needs to, or it's not in everyone's benefit to utilize it for academic credit, or they just don't have enough of these factors to consider it for academic credit. Of course, if your university does not offer academic credit for your internship, none of this applies, you can't do it, right? Most universities do. Most congressional offices understand that. But I'm going to give you some of the reasons that I also did not opt in for academic credit. If you are already full-time, right? So you could be full-time and have a full ride scholarship, or you want extra credits to graduate, but maybe you're full-time, you don't have to have more credits on your scoreboard, on your curriculum, and you're fine, your scholarship applies because you're a full-time student, you already have 4 online courses that you're taking. If you're already a full-time student, you don't have to do it. If anything, this is really the only particular reason where if you have scholarships that need to be applied, if you have aid that needs to be applied, if you want to maximize your financial resources for a internship experience in Washington, D.C., then if you have 9 credits you're taking and you want to opt in for 12 credits, perhaps taking it for academic credit will put you towards that threshold so that your scholarship and your aid will apply and you maximize the amount of money you receive for the internship. But if you're full-time already, and there'll be other reasons to discuss as to why you may want to opt out of this, then maybe you don't have to. It's not something you have to do, it's up to you. And maybe some of these other reasons might be more attractive to you. So the second opportunity is that you have a flat rate scholarship. So many people have different kinds of scholarship. You could have a full ride scholarship. You could have a scholarship that was offered to me that was per credit, bright futures. Or you have a flat rate scholarship. Let's say you have a scholarship that applies only $3,000 per semester, only $5,000 per semester. And depending on your tuition, assume that that's below the amount of tuition you actually have to pay. The rest you have to pay out of pocket. So perhaps if it's in your best interest, if you have a flat rate scholarship and you really can only cover 3 courses that semester, 9 credits, or you can only cover 12 credits, or you can only cover 15 credits, that scholarship only covers a certain amount of credits, and you're not willing to replace those online courses or those courses that you're already going to be taking during that semester, then it may not make sense to add another 3 credits towards your core curriculum, because that specific semester will not be covered by your scholarship, as it is a flat rate instead of a per credit rate. Now, of course, this can still apply, because even if your scholarship is a flat rate, and let's say a flat rate scholarship that covers 15 credits equivalent of your tuition, then maybe you can take 12 credits of online courses and then take the 3 credits of Congress, because then it's still going to be paid. But even at the end of the day, if your scholarship is flat and you're going to be taking 12 credits, then if you add another 3 credits for something that you're already going to be doing, you're already going to be getting paid for, that you're taking out tuition money that could probably be refunded to you if you do not opt in for that. So it's really going to be up to you. If this scholarship applies once you're full-time and you're taking the 12 credits and you want to take 15 credits, then you're going to have to pay extra for those 3 credits. At the end of the day, when you are taking this as academic credit, it is more tuition that you have to pay. So if you have a flat rate scholarship, it may not necessarily make sense for you unless this is something that you already are considering to apply it towards academic credit for other reasons, and your scholarship will cover it. Otherwise, your scholarship, if it does overflow, if you do have enough money to utilize it for academic credit, but it doesn't make sense for you, you're not looking to rush to graduation, you're not looking to fulfill a requirement, then perhaps you can just utilize those extra resources that you get from the scholarship, that overflow that you get once the scholarship already applies, as a refund money, so you can pay for housing, so you can pay for groceries, and you can get by in DC. DC is expensive, and there's an opportunity for you to get a refund if you don't utilize this for academic credit and you want your scholarship to apply in overflow, right? So the third reason that you may not make sense for you to do academic credit, this kind of overrides a lot of these. Like, you just simply don't need the credits. And honestly, for me, I had a full ride scholarship. My university did not require me to have an internship, but I had a full ride scholarship, and I could have technically applied the internship as course curriculum, but there was nowhere in my curriculum that I needed it. I did not need the credits. I was looking to graduate the next semester. I actually had so many more credits that I needed to fulfill the next semester that unfortunately the internship could not cover. And so it did not make sense for me to take the credits. There was literally no gap in my curriculum for me to add that as an academic credit. And so there are certain schools where you could actually go overflow. You could actually get paid more per credit. You get charged more if you go over a certain amount of credits. So that's not something I wanted to fall into the threshold of. I had gotten my associate's degree when I was in high school, and when I got into college, I was doing a double major in economics and political science, and I had been there almost 3 years already. And so I was very close to the threshold of overpaying for credits, and so it didn't make sense for me to add those 3 credits in there. Financially speaking, long term, it was going to hit me, even if the full ride scholarship was going to pay for it that semester and I wouldn't have to worry about it. So that was the main reason for me as to why I didn't land that intern. I didn't do it for academic credit. And I actually took 4 online courses, which, by the way, is very doable. I was able to take 4 online courses. If you are scared of being a full-time student while doing an internship, have that conversation with your intern coordinator. Have that conversation once you do land these internships, right? So you are able to maximize your decision here and make sure you make the most educated decision possible. Of course, if you're not in that process of you landed a congressional internship, then that's where I come in. That's where I help you. I'm that professor. I'm that person that you can count on that will get you from point A to point B, get that application in as easy as possible, the easiest process on the internet. Down below, first link in the description. Let me see how I can help you. Otherwise, this very last option is that there is a 0 credit option that your university offers for your internship. Where that is the only option that they offer, then you just can't get academic credit because they don't offer anything. They only offer a 0 credit option. Or if you do need it for a requirement and perhaps you don't need the extra credits, then you can utilize, if your university policy has it, the 0 credit option to fulfill a requirement that your university has, so that if your university tells you you do need a scholarship to graduate, you can use a 0 credit option and you don't have to rush into graduation if that's not necessary for you. Otherwise, that is all the reasons as to why you should or should not do it for academic credit. It's not my decision. It's not something that I have a vested interest towards. It's really up to you. And I think anyone telling you otherwise, whether this is the obvious choice, is missing a big blind spot here academically, financially, that may lead you to start paying a little bit more cost in the future, maybe not get as much refunds that semester that can help fund your internship, or perhaps it's just something that is personal to you and you may not want to make that decision, and it's not always clear cut. However, it may make sense for you, especially in these opportunities where you're looking to be a full-time student, you want your scholarships to apply, you want everything to apply, and maybe you just want an easier coursework that semester. You want to take 3 online courses, those are 9 credits, and you want to get into full-time, take this as a extra 3 credit course, you get the scholarship money, you get the aid you need, it automatically applies, and you have an easier semester, right? So it's not a clear-cut path, but I hope this video showed value to you, and if that's something that you're interested in learning more of, first thing in the description, I'm here to help you. Everything you need to know to land and fund your congressional internships in Washington, D.C. Thank you, and have a great day.